I want to welcome all of you to the program this evening. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, this is a long weekend. Why? Why? What are you celebrating? Independence Day. July 4th, 1776. You read that in history? Yes. Is when America gained independence. So what is real independence? This reminds me of a story that Prabhupada told us. Prabhupada was once approached by a friend who said, "Come with me. I want you to meet a very special sadhu." Prabhupada said, "I have met many sadhus. I'm not impressed by them." Prabhupada's father's name was Gopal, and he was a Vaishnava, a humble Vaishnava, who loved to serve sadhus. He did not discriminate whether the sadhu was genuine or not so genuine. He would serve everyone. So Prabhupada had exposure to sadhus from a young age, and he was not so inspired by them. So when Prabhupada's friend said, "Come, I obey, I want to take you to meet a special sadhu," Prabhupada said, "I'm not interested in meeting any sadhus. I met so many of them." But this friend of Prabhupada said, "No, this sadhu is special. He's not like the other sadhus." And in Prabhupada's words, he virtually dragged Prabhupada to meet the sadhu. And who was the sadhu? So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is one of our great acharyas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none else but the incarnation of Godhead, had predicted 500 years ago that the holy name will be chanted in every town and village of the world. And our acharyas try their best to realize Lord Chaitanya's prediction. Thakur Bhaktivinoda, great acharya, he wrote a book on the life of Lord Chaitanya that he sent to universities around the world. He re-established the pure teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wrote nearly 100 books, and in his prayers, he glorified Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is described as the mercy incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he had predicted that very soon a powerful Senapati will appear who will take this message to every corner of the globe. Who was that Senapati? And he had predicted the day would come when in every corner of the globe devotees would be playing mridanga and kartals and chanting Hare Krishna. And a day will come when devotees from different parts of the world will come to Sridham Mayapur along with the Bengali devotees chant and hear the holy name. So our acharyas had full faith. Since this is Lord Chaitanya's prediction, it will come true. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he met Prabhupada for the first time, he could recognize that he is that young man who can help realize Lord Chaitanya's prediction. And what was Lord Chaitanya's prediction? What? Sarvatra Prachara Abhimurana. Every town in Malay, the holy name will be chanted. So Bhakti Siddhanta Ji told Prabhupada, your young man, at that time, India was involved in the freedom movement, and Prabhupada was studying at Scottish College, Calcutta. And he was one of the student leaders. He was a follower of Gandhi's freedom movement. So, Bhakti Siddhanta Ji said, you're an educated young man, you speak very good English, why don't you take Lord Chaitanya's message to the Western countries? Prabhupada said, who is going to listen to our message? First we should make a country, India, independent. Then people may listen to our message. Then Bhakti Siddhanta Ji said, explain, what is real independence? Real independence is not political independence. Real independence is not economic independence. Then, what is real independence? Question. Real independence is freedom from the cycle of birth and death. So we are celebrating America's Independence Day. It's good. But we must understand that real independence is becoming free from the cycle of birth and death. And so Bhakti Siddhanta Ji convinced Prabhupada that the most important independence is freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Prabhupada was a very strong debater. No one could ever defeat him. But Prabhupada said, but I was defeated by my Guru Maharaj. So this is real independence. Once a magician came to Prabhupada's room in Vrindavan. You know how magicians are. They'll place something in front of you, they'll show you something and then make it disappear, isn't it? So this magician would place things on the table near Prabhupada and then he would do Chu Mantra. So he told Prabhupada, so how do you like my magic? I place things in front of you and then they disappear. Prabhupada said, very good. And Prabhupada asked him, can you make birth and death disappear? And the man said, no. And Prabhupada said, I can. So I'm a better magician than you. So Prabhupada gave us a path by which, what can we free ourselves from? Birth and death. So this Krishna conscious movement is presenting a path by which people can find real happiness. Prahlad Maharaj's instructions are in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam. Yesterday we spoke on the story of Arjavil, which is from the 6th canto. So Prahlad Maharaj had the great fortune of having received spiritual knowledge when he was in the womb of his mother. Who did he receive it from? His father, Hiranyakashipu, was performing great austerities, and the demigods were already greatly troubled by Prahlad's father, by his austerities. He was so austere. He stood on his toes with his hands raised towards the sky. Any of you in the audience do it? Does yoga? No? None of you do yoga? Oh, you do? Okay. So let's talk about the best yoga teacher. How long can you stand on your toes for? With your hands raised towards the sky. How long? 5 minutes?
Few seconds.
Few seconds. But Hiranyakashipu stood on his toes with his hands raised towards the sky, the whole body full of ants, for 100 celestial years. 6 months of an early planet is equal to 12 hours of a heavenly planet. And for 100 celestial years, he did not take one drop of water or anything to eat. Is this an ordinary achievement? No one can equal that, isn't it? He was so powerful. So, the demigods knew that Hiranyakashipu's wife was pregnant. So, they were dragging her with a plan that as soon as the son child is born, they will kill the child. But then Narada Muni appeared on the scene and said, "No, the child in the womb of this lady is a great devotee, not a demon." So the demigods trusted Narada Muni's statement and they released Prahlad's mother, who was given shelter in Narada Muni's ashram. And Narada Muni gave her spiritual instructions, which Prahlad heard when he was in his mother's womb. So Prahlad Maharaj says, "Nate vidam swartagatim Vishnu." People do not know how real happiness can be found. So all of you who are assembled here because you have interest in spiritual life, am I right? Some of you may be saying, "Oh no, I'm here because I'm Anandasa's family friend." Some of you may say, "No, I'm here because I'm Provation's family." Regardless, you're here because you have some interest in spiritual life. You recognize that without spiritual life, human life is a failure. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Simply a waste of time. So, one who is intelligent, he wants to cultivate a spiritual path. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was explaining to Sanatana Goswami about the process of spiritual advancement. Sanatana Goswami at one time was holding a very important position in society. He was virtually the Prime Minister of the richest kingdom of the world. And he later on followed his brother Rupa and resigned from government service. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave valuable instructions on the science of devotional service to both Rupa and Sanatana. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, "Brahmanda Brahmida Kono Bhagavanaji, Guru Krishna Kripa Bhai, Bhaktilata." After traveling through many births and deaths, is he the fortunate soul who receives knowledge for the advantage of devotional service. Bhaktilata means seed of devotional service. Receives knowledge about the importance of bhakti. So how does this knowledge grow? How does the seed grow? The seed grows when what do you do? When you water the seed, then it will grow. So this watering is compared to chanting and hearing. We chant and hear. There's a very nice small book called Sri Updeshamrit and is presented under the title of the Nectar of Instruction by Srila Prabhupada. Rupa Goswami, as we explained on Sunday, was instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to write books on the science of devotional service, to identify places where the Lord had performed his pastimes, and to construct temples. And many of the principal temples of Vrindavan were all constructed on inspiration from the Goswamis. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami both received this transcendental knowledge from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this book of Deshamrit, there are only a few verses, but in the 7th verse of the book, Rupa Goswami says that the holy name of the Lord is sweet like sugar candy. The pastimes performed for the Lord are sweet like sugar candy. The characteristics are sweet like sugar candy. So everyone likes sweet things?
Yes.
Everyone? That's why so many people have diabetes. Because people love sweets. So the holy name is sweet like sugar candy. But if the holy name is sweet, why then everyone hankering to chant the holy name? Maharaj was just saying that when the kirtan that took place, all of you were listening, but not everybody was chanting. So why is it that we don't always chant the holy name? So Rupa Goswami says, because our tongue is diseased, affected by what? Avidya. What does avidya mean? Ignorance. This ignorance gets manifested to the agencies of Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya. They have a powerful influence, and therefore we don't appreciate the sweetness of the holy name. The holy name is descending from the spiritual world. Kali Kali Nama Rupa Krishna Mata. In this age, Lord incarnates in His holy name. So, Rupa Goswami explains, even though the holy name is sweet, but because we are diseased, just like sometimes we get affected by jaundice. So if you get affected by jaundice, then even if somebody gives you the most palatable item, you don't really appreciate that taste, sweetness, isn't it? So, when you have fever, even if somebody gives you something cooked very nicely, you don't appreciate it. So our tongue is affected by avidya. And the question is, can this be rectified? Can this problem be solved? Can it be solved? Yes, no?
Yes.
How? The Rupa Goswami gives a solution. He says, when regularly chanting the holy name, the disease of avidya will get cured, and we will be able to appreciate, taste the sweetness of the holy name. So the point is that the holy name is sweet, but because we are so conditioned by the illusory energy, we can't appreciate the sweetness of the holy name. People tell us, oh, please chant, please chant. And what do we say? No. In the early days of a woman, there was a cartoon that came in a paper. One said, chant, chant, chant. And the other said, can't. So, devotees of the Hare Krishna movement, whenever they meet you, they say, they always have one message. Doesn't matter who you meet. Please chant Hare Krishna, isn't it? Please chant Hare Krishna. Why? Because this is the conclusion of the scriptures. That in this age of Kali Dosindhirajan, there's nothing but vice and vice, but there's one benediction in this age. That is the chanting of the holy name. So by chanting the holy name, the heart becomes cleansed of these impurities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed his followers to write books on devotional service. But he himself left behind only 8 verses that are known as the Sikshastaka. In most of the ISKCON temples, we chant the Sikshastaka every morning after Mangalarati. So, in the very first verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Cheta Dharman Marjana. By this chanting process, the dust of the heart gets cleansed. So if we are sincere about cleansing the heart, then what is the solution? Chanting the holy names of the Lord. And this chanting the holy names of the Lord can be done very nicely in the association of devotees. Association of devotees is very important if you want to make progress on the spiritual path. Therefore, in the scriptures it is said, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastakaya, Dava Mata Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhiyaya. Even for 1/11 of 1 second, if you have the fortune of getting spiritual association of an advanced devotee, take advantage of it. So Prabhupada created this ISKCON society. In fact, this year is very special. Because this year we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Prabhupada leaving India for the West. As I revealed, as I just explained, Prabhupada was ordered by spiritual master, take this message to the Western country. Bhaktisiddhanta Ji had convinced Prabhupada the real independence is not political independence, but becoming independent from the cycle of birth and death. So Prabhupada took his Guru's instruction to heart, endeavored very hard. He had to struggle, but he was determined to execute Prabhupada, his Guru's order. Prabhupada approached pious lady of Srimati Maharaji. She had helped Prabhupada earlier in pending Srimad Bhagavatam first came to part 2. And when Prabhupada approached her, please give me a passage to America. Prabhupada did not want to go to England or any other country. He wanted to go to America. America was at its prime at that time, and he wanted to come to New York. Prabhupada said he would dream that he's in New York. And Srimati Maharaji said, you'll go in this old age, you may die there. Prabhupada was determined. So after a long struggle, on August 13th, 1965, Prabhupada sailed for America. In those days, leaving India was not such an easy process. These days it's a lot simpler. You had to get P-form clearance, getting a passport was a challenge, and getting a visa, oh, that was a bigger challenge. But Prabhupada managed to do it. Prabhupada had a friend in Mathura, Mr. Agarwal, who was a businessman. This Agarwal would like to serve sadhus. And he had a son in America who was in Butler, Pennsylvania, doing a job. So Prabhupada told his father in Mathura, why don't you get your son to give me a letter of sponsorship? And the father took it seriously. And then within 1 month, the sponsorship came and the clearance from the Indian consulate in New York. And finally Prabhupada was able to complete all the formalities. And he left India on August 13th. He sailed from Calcutta. There was virtually no one to see him off. There was one gentleman called Mr. Bhattacharya that Prabhupada had met in Lucknow a year earlier at a program in the governor's house. The Bhattacharya was a good singer and he developed attachment to Prabhupada. So he was the only person who was there to see Prabhupada off. And Prabhupada left for the West in a cargo ship. Normally nobody would travel in a cargo ship. But his only desire was to fulfill his Guru's order. And he took all the risks. And on the way to the West, he had 2 heart attacks. And he was thinking that his mission may not be successful. But then the Lord appeared to him with a dream, in which the Lord was a boatman and Prabhupada was a passenger. And the Lord said, don't worry, your mission will be successful. And Prabhupada traveled in his cargo ship. For how long? 35 days. 35 days in a cargo ship, imagine. His only desire was to establish Lord Chaitanya's teachings in the Western countries. And next year is significant, will be significant, because next year is the year that Prabhupada formally organized and incorporated ISKCON Society in New York. Prabhupada had to struggle before he sailed for the West. And even after he came to the West, his first year was full of struggle. So a devotee has to struggle, but he doesn't mind struggling for Krishna. So Prabhupada created this very wonderful ISKCON Society, which gives us so much opportunity to associate. So if we associate with sadhus, then there's a good chance you'll be inspired to chant the holy name. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains to Krishna Goswami in detail about the process of devotional service. And he listed 5 factors to be most important. And the first of these 5 factors was sadhu sangha. So we should look forward to spiritual association. We can associate with those that are more advanced, equally advanced, and less advanced. When you have the opportunity to associate with those that are more advanced, one becomes joyful. When you have the opportunity to associate with those that are equally advanced, we make friendship. And when you have the opportunity to associate with those who are less advanced, what do? Display compassion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatana Goswami that the seed of devotional service will grow by the process of chanting. So this chanting is a process through which we can make spiritual advancement. Prabhupada, when he came to New York, how did he start this movement? Through the process of chanting. There's a very famous park in New York. Some of you may have been to that park, Tompkins Square Park. If you go to the park now, there's a nice plaque there that this is the tree under which the founder of the Hare Krishna movement started his preaching. I believe it was put over there at the efforts of some devotees. So anyway, Prabhupada started this just through the kirtan process. And people got attracted. Why? Because the process works. This chanting of the holy name is our most important activity. And this is the conclusion of the scriptures. So, if you associate with devotees, you'll understand the importance of chanting the holy name. And if you chant the holy name, there will be cleansing of the heart. Cleansing of the heart means the anarthas begin to get liquidated. Just like Gopal Goswami explains, Adosha in the initial stage, you must have this faith that I want spiritual life. And if you have this faith that I want spiritual life, then what happens? What happens? The Lord guides you to the appropriate association. If you want to forget the Lord will guide you in that environment. If you want to remember the Lord will guide you to a saintly person. That saintly person will give you the real advice. Chant Hare Krishna. And once you do that, what happens then? Then there is anartha nivritti. Anartha refers to Kam, Krodh, Lobha, Mad, Matsarya, lust, greed, and hatred that we just mentioned. These anarthas are responsible for holding back our surrender to the Lord. But if you chant the holy name, this chanting will weaken the anarthas, just like when you fall sick, you take medicine to cure yourself. So by this chanting, the anarthas begin to get weak. And eventually, what happens? Get destroyed. So today the Krishna consciousness movement is virtually in every corner of the globe. And how are people getting attracted to the process of chanting? And because it is satisfying the individual, that's why they're chanting. Prabhupada was once giving a talk in America, and he said, when the Muslims came to India, they converted people by the sword. When the Christians came, they used money power. But I'm an old man that has come to your country with neither a sword or money. Why are you getting attracted? Because Krishna is all attractive, and the chanting of the holy name gives one real pleasure. So this is the purpose of this Krishna conscious movement. To give people the ancient Vedic message that is there in the books. And Prabhupada presented the pure path as it is. Sometimes people want to know, why is your Bhagavad Gita called Bhagavad Gita as it is? And Prabhupada explains this in the purport. It is called as it is because Prabhupada has presented a pure message without any distortion. So, if we want to find real happiness, earlier we quoted Prahlad Maharaj who said, people do not know how real happiness can be found. So if we want real happiness, then what is the process? Chanting the holy name, associating with devotees, reading and hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, worshipping the deity with love and faith. So this process is very simple. And if we follow the process, success will be there. Prabhupada said, you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna will take 10 steps towards you. So our request to all of you is, please take to this process very seriously. Many times we recognize the importance of this process. Many times we recognize the importance of chanting the holy name. But due to the power of illusion, we do not follow the path. We keep postponing. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. But before tomorrow comes, what can happen? That can come. Prabhupada used to give a story that there was a person who would bring water every day to the Jagannath Puri temple. He would place the water at the entrance and say, let others take darshan today. I'll take darshan tomorrow. He went and saying, tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. And before tomorrow came, what happened? God came. So we should not waste a minute. As Chanakya Pandit said, a minute lost cannot be made up with the wealth of the entire world. So this process of Krishna consciousness is very simple. Most of you in the audience chant and read are committed to the philosophy. But please preach. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted us to preach. Yare Dakatayaka Krishna Uday. Preach the message of the holy name. There's so many conditioned souls are waiting for someone to come and give them the real knowledge. And if we sincerely make an effort, Krishna will reciprocate. So we want to thank all of you for coming to the program. And we want to request you to please concentrate on improving the quality of japa. As we said the other day, chanting is beneficial in any situation. But if chanted attentively, without offenses, then the chanting has maximum effect. So this chanting is our most important business, and this is the real wealth. Dr. Bhaktivinoda prays. He says, please pray for the holy name. The holy name can cure all the anarthas. Take to the chanting of the holy name, read Prabhupada books, and stay in devotee association. And by this process, you'll be able to make spiritual advancement. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I have requested, very
The microphone will not.
Get the mic.
I can just hold the mic.
Probably have to.
It's not long enough. Let me move. Anchakalpa Tarubhyascha Vipasandriyevacha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. So I'll just say a few words following up on something that Maharaj was saying. I was reading recently in chapter 49 of the 10th canto. It's entitled Ill-Motivated Dhritarashtra. And it's very interesting. I was reading the Krishna book, not the full Bhagavatam with the Sanskrit. And in there, Srila Prabhupada is talking about how Dhritarashtra had this, I guess we would call it today, cognitive dissonance. That on one hand, he was understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And on the other hand, he was attached to his sons and the ill advice of his ministers and his associates. And so he was kind of going back and forth, but as Maharaj was saying, that Maya is very strongly, the illusion overwhelmed him, and it didn't allow him to act on the understanding that he knew that Krishna was indeed the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I was thinking about how does that apply in our lives? Because I think looking around this room, I think all of us, every single person in this room accepts that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I would guess that except for some of the great souls in this room, but people like myself at least, I don't always act on that knowledge. I'm more of a, instead of Mahajana Yena Gata Sapanta, it's more like Dhritarashtra Mahajana, whatever. Sapanta, I'm on the Dhritarashtra Sampradaya. So what is it that we know what's right, we know Krishna, we have at least the theoretical understanding Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and yet our actions don't always match our, at least theoretical knowledge. And there's different descriptions, but just one that crossed my mind that is mentioned, I believe it's in the Harinam Chintamani, and Gopal Hari will correct my Sanskrit pronunciation, but Hridaya Durbalyam. Did I get that right? Is that pretty good? So, and the translation is basically weakness of heart. And I think we probably have had some experiences in our life where we know something is right, we know what we should do, and there's just some weakness there, some hesitation, or the example that Maharaj gave was of jaundice, right? That we don't have a taste for it. Even though we know we should be chanting, or we know we should go to the kirtan, or we know we should pick up the Bhagavatam instead of Time magazine or whatever, we have both of them on our table, we sometimes choose the wrong thing. We don't have that attraction, as Maharaj was saying, that comes by attentive chanting and etc. But rather there's that weakness of heart. We know what's right, and yet we don't do it. So and as Maharaj was mentioning the Upadekshamrita, that Srila Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha Nishchaya Dharyat, right? That we have to be enthusiastic, patient, and confident. And so it's kind of, at least in my life, I see that I have to just kind of get over that hurdle and do whatever it takes. Of course, the idea is to get attracted to Krishna, but sometimes it just takes, taking the shoes out figuratively and beating our head with, the example of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, just to not listen to the mind, which is the agent that attracts us to the illusory energy. The mind's business is to protect the false ego. The false ego, the false conception of who we are, and then how does that manifest? It manifests in our thoughts, and the mind protects whatever illusory understanding of who we are. And that's what happened to Dhritarashtra. Although he understood Krishna as the Supreme Lord, his mind was projecting his false conception that he's a father, that he has these 100 sons, that Duryodhana is so dear to him, etc. And that got in the way of his Krishna consciousness. Only later on was he able to achieve quite an exalted spiritual place by the mercy of another devotee, Vidura. And Vidura didn't, as we all know from, we've listened to many years to Gopal Krishna Maharaj's lectures, he doesn't mince words. You ever see him get kind of heavy? Gopal, or you traveled with him a lot, so you know. Advaita knows, right? And that's, he's following the footsteps of Vidura. Because Vidura was really heavy with Dhritarashtra. Right? He didn't say, oh no, do take your time, no rush. No, he said, your liver's defective, you've been blind since birth, 80% of your life is finished. You're like a household dog eating the remnants of food left by Bhima. Right? The same person who killed your 100 sons. So this is a challenge for us to regularly and enthusiastically, with some patience, but with a lot of confidence, overcome whatever weakness is there in the heart and really take shelter of Krishna. And as Maharaj was saying, especially through the attentive and the chanting of Krishna's holy names. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So everyone's going to take advantage of this. Chant attentively. Be serious about spiritual life. And this is the best way to celebrate Independence Day weekend. Explain to them the Bhakti Siddhanta said. Real independence is becoming free from the cycle of birth and death. That will only happen if we take this Krishna consciousness seriously. So please take it seriously and perfectly well. Hare Krishna. Anandas, what's next?
Guru Maharaj, we have a very nice prasadam. All the good devotees, good-hearted people got a very nice preparation for all of us to enjoy. So please, we'll just start serving from here.
We have to be grateful to Anandas.
Yeah. And thank you all for coming. Thank you, Guru
Maharaj. A lot
Maharaj.
of family members to become devotees. I often joke in